very welcome back to our assembly again today, and glad to be with you, and glad to have someone helping me out today. I wonder, can you guess who it is? Is it Tommy? Is it Celia? No, it's me! Okay, well, it's Dave. Dave has joined us this morning, so welcome, Dave. Welcome, good, thank you. Thank you very much. Glad to be here. Anyway, we're here this morning because we're going to do our assembly, and Dave's going to help me out because he's a very clever chap. Very clever. I'm very clever. Anyway, the story is about Moses. Now, you might remember we talked last time a few times about, first of all, Moses leaving Egypt with the people of God, and then Moses crossing the Red Sea. And we remember we had that famous song when we met in assembly in school. How did Moses cross the Red Sea? We thought all about it. Did he sail? Did he walk? In the end, we discovered that he crossed the Red Sea because God sent a big wind. And in that big wind, he separated the sea so that the people of God could walk through. You're welcome again, as I say this morning. Welcome to Dave. Hi, everyone. Now we're going to talk about another part of the story of Moses and God's people. They're on the way home to the promised land. But before they get there, they're going to travel for many years in the wilderness, which is like a desert. And in the desert, there are a lot of things that you don't have that you and I would expect. First of all, you don't have much food because nothing can really live in the desert, and then there's no food for people to eat. But also, there's no water, and that's a really big problem when people get thirsty and are worried about whether they're going to get any more water to drink. So our stories start. Moses and Aaron are leading God's people through the wilderness. Now, Aaron is Moses' brother. And as they traveled through, people started to complain because they hadn't any food to eat. They came up to Moses and said, "Why did you take us out of Egypt if you were going to make us very hungry here in the desert? Maybe we should just go back to Egypt and have plenty of food to eat." Now, Moses knew that they weren't complaining about him. He knew very well that they were complaining about God. And he told them so. He says, "You really have to be careful. You're actually complaining about God, the God who brought you out of Egypt, the God who has been faithful to you. He's not going to let you down. He's not going to let you down. He's going to get you food and water as well." Yeah. So God spoke to Moses. Moses said his prayers. God spoke to Moses. And God said the following: "During the daytime, I'm going to send you birds. These birds are going to come over in big flocks. They're going to fly over the top. Just like Dave is trying to fly at the moment. I'm trying to fly, yeah. And these birds were called quail. And the idea was that people would catch the birds, that they would kill the birds, and they would have birds to eat. So that would be their meat. But then he sent another special thing. Early in the morning, people got up and they saw the ground was covered in a thing like dew. Now, dew is something that you get on the grass, particularly in summertime. When you go out early in the morning, you can see that the ground is a little bit wet. It hasn't been raining. It's just that the dew has arrived. So they go out early in the morning and they see what looks like dew on the ground. But the closer they look at it, they begin to realize it isn't dew. It's like breadcrumbs all over the ground. And they said, "Manna. Manna!" They said the word manna. And the word manna means What is it? What is it? I don't know. What do you think it is, boys and girls? So they looked out, they said, manna, manna, manna. God sent instructions to his people to gather up all the breadcrumbs and to bring them home and to eat that day. Not to bring home too much, because God was going to send manna the next morning and the next morning and the next morning. So there would be plenty of food for God's people to eat. So that's how God fed his people in the wilderness, in the desert. He sent quail, birds, to come over at night, and they were caught and they were turned into meat for God's people. And then he sent the manna. What is it? What is it? And as he sent the what is it, they began to discover it was bread that they could eat for their breakfast the next day. So these are really, really important parts of the story, but we're not finished. Not long afterwards, Moses and Aaron and all God's people are still on their journey back to the promised land when someone comes up and says, "We've no water to drink. We're going to die of thirst." Die of thirst in the desert, oh dear. Yeah, it wasn't going to be nice now, Dave, was it? No, I don't like being thirsty. Do you like being thirsty, boys and girls? So they came up to Moses and said, "We should go back to Egypt. We had plenty of water in Egypt. The people in Egypt looked after us. They made sure that we didn't actually die of thirst." And Moses once more told them, "You're not complaining about me. You're complaining about God. And you should be very careful about that." Moses goes off and he gets instructions from God. He says, "Take your staff, that big stick you carried in your hand when you struck the water of the Red Sea and the wind started. Bring that big stick with you. I want you to go to a big rock. I want you to strike that rock and wait for the water to arrive." So that's what Moses did. He went straight to the rock. He struck the rock with his big staff, the one he had used in the Red Sea, and all of a sudden the water started to flow. It was marvelous. The people were excited. They were running into the water. They were actually thinking they were having a shower. Oh, yeah, just like you have your shower in the morning, don't you, Dave? Yes, I do indeed. Every morning my shower. Yeah. So they had water to drink. They had water to wash with. They had water to cook with. All because God had supplied his people with what they needed. We learn a very important lesson in our stories today, and it is this, that God supplies what we need. He will give us what we need, but we need to approach him, not give out to others, not talk to people about God as if we are talking behind his back. The best way for us to understand what God can do in our lives each day is to speak with God. And that's what we're going to do now, because we are going to say our prayers. So let's say our prayers. I'm going to ask you to say this prayer after me, please. Dear God, help me to remember that you are there to listen to what I am worried about. Help me to remember how you looked after your own people in the desert and how you look after me each day if I come to you in prayer and ask for your blessing upon my life. Amen. Together we say, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the Lord bless you and keep you today and forever. Amen. Amen. See you all later, guys. Yes, David will be back in school at one of our assemblies soon. Good to see you all today. Have a very good week, everybody, and every blessing to you and to your families until we meet again. See you later. Bye. See you later. Yeah.